Here's a list of the winning percentage of every first-year NBA head coach with 0 prior coaching experience. A list that new Lakers head coach JJ Reddick will find himself on. According to this list, first-year head coach with no prior experience lasts 2.75 seasons with the team they are hired by and win 51.85% of their game. However, this list is heavily inflated by two names, Larry Bird and Steve Kerr. Both guys had NBA front office experience before taking on their coaching jobs. So if we eliminate them and some other guys who had prior experience, the list looks like this. The average winning percentage drops from 51.85% to 45.41%. The average number of playoff appearances drops from 1.4 to 0.92. And the average number of playoff wins dropped from 2.12 to 0.33, meaning going from front office to head coach is an easier path to success than going from nothing to head coach. But it doesn't mean it's impossible for you to come virtually off the street and to become an NBA head coach and be successful in this league. But the real question is, can JJ Reddick beat these odds and become a first-year head coach with no type of front office, no coaching experience prior to taking this and lead the Lakers to a championship? JJ Reddick has joined this Lakers team with no coaching experience or front office experience, but he is tasked with one of the hardest jobs in the NBA, coaching a Lakers squad led by LeBron James. LeBron and head coaches do not have a great history. He has had 9 head coaches in his career, and all of them except 2 have been fired while LeBron was still on that team. Now, you can blame LeBron for these firings or not, but one thing is true. Coaching LeBron James is not easy. You are expected to win every single year, and if you don't, well, most likely you'll be looking for a new job in the following season. For JJ Reddick, this is something that seems unrealistic this year. On that list I showed you prior, only one of them have won a championship with the team they were hired by, and that one guy would be Steve Kerr. Kerr joined the Golden State Warriors in 2014 and immediately won an NBA championship. Now, you can accredit that to 2 things. 1, he had Steph Curry, arguably a top 5 player all time. And 2, the framework for that Golden State Warriors team was laid out before him by Mark Jackson. All Kerr had to do was bring in a new offense and get all his players on board, and boom, you have an NBA championship. JJ Reddick is in a very similar situation. He is coaching LeBron James, who's arguably the greatest player of all time, and is taking over a team who had the same core for the last 2 years under Darvin Ham. All JJ Reddick has to do is bring in his new offense and get everybody to buy in. And I can say, so far as a Laker fan, this JJ Reddick offense just feels different than Darvin Ham. Now, at the time of recording, the Lakers have only played 1 game, and I think by the time it's out, they would have played at least their 2nd, maybe their 3rd game. But in that 1 game against Minnesota Timberwolves, we already saw things that JJ Reddick's trying to do, and we have on record of what he wants this Laker team to look like. In terms of what the offense will look like, there will be a decent amount of movement. The shot profile will hopefully improve. We talked about ways to create paint touches. We talked about ways to shoot more threes. We talked about some leeway that you give certain players with their mid-range shots, whether that's in the post or isolation, but hopefully the shot profile improves. And I will say that Tuesday night, the shot profile did improve. Let's look at the very first play of the game. LeBron sets this down screen for Austin Reeves, and he comes off this ball screen. And as soon as LeBron rolls, Rudy Gobert is forced to help over because, you know, that's LeBron James going downhill, which leads to a kick out pass to Anthony Davis, who makes the extra pass for a Ruri 3. Now let's look at the first play out of halftime for the Lakers. This play makes me think of the podcast LeBron and JJ Reddick had when they would just drop all these crazy plays, because this one is insane. The Lakers run an Iverson cut and Reeves goes over 2 screens and then catches a ball. Then AD goes and sets a screen for LeBron then goes set the screen for Reeves. He was going to hit him on the roll, and once again Gobert helps over, and that's an easy lob to Anthony Davis. Now, AD was spectacular this entire game. He had 36 points, 16 rebounds, and it was obvious that Reddick and his staff wanted to focus on getting AD as many touches as possible and make his scoring just seem easier and seamless. One thing we saw a lot of in the preseason was JJ Reddick using his guards as screeners to create space for AD. Here you see Reeves going to set a screen at the free throw line, which causes Conley to hedge and recover, but it's just enough space for AD to do a step back mid-range shot and knock this down. Once again, we see Reddick using his guards as a screener. Gabe sets a screen to free up AD, then runs to the corner, and then Dalton runs to the dunker spot. This is also something we saw in the preseason, the Lakers using their guards in the dunker spot to weaken the last line of defense. So right here, with Dalton's man Being the last on the defense, it frees up AD to go one-on-one against Gobert, and right there's a goaltend. I have to add this play in because I just got finished watching the Laker game as I'm editing this right now, and JJ Reddick ran this ATO play, which was insane. Now this is a play I actually saw them run similar in the preseason, which was using Jackson Hayes as a handoff guy, and he would sit in the corner. But here you go, look at this play. We have D'Angelo Russell comes down, he gives to LeBron, he goes through this kind of like fake screen from Austin Reeves. LeBron then skips it over to Jackson Hayes, who immediately gives it to a handoff to Austin Reeves, who then lobs it up to Jackson Hayes for a layup. That right there, with how they've been utilizing Jackson Hayes outside, like they're using a non-shooting big man out on the perimeter, and instead of having him even look like he's gonna shoot, he just hands it off and sets the screen for a shooter. JJ Reddick, this offense is beautiful. Now, one of the main focuses in JJ Reddick's offensive strategy is an emphasis on three-point shooting. A big key for the Lakers shooting more threes this year will lean on Anthony Davis. Now, AD is the most important player on the Lakers squad offensively and defensively. As we've seen in the preseason and in the first game, Reddick is using AD a lot more in the perimeter of the offense, hoping it will unlock AD's shooting ability. Now, obviously, Reddick is not the first coach to want Anthony Davis to shoot more threes. This is the same thing that Frank Vogel echoed or Darvin Ham. They have all said, we want AD to shoot more threes. That's when we are at our best. During the 2020 season, Davis attempted 3.5 threes a game. And then over the last 3 years, he has attempted less than 2 threes a game. But Reddick hopes with his new offense, he will unlock his three. Here in game 1, you see AD and Dalton Connect running a pick and pop, and it leads to a wide open AD jumper. Now, one thing I did notice that AD was not doing was hesitating. Even on the first play of the game, when we saw him catch the ball and he didn't shoot the three, but he immediately made a swing pass. A lot of times last year under Darvin Ham, you see AD catch the ball and kind of hesitate if he really wanted to shoot the three or if he wanted to pass it up to somebody else. Like, he didn't know what he wanted to do. This game, he seemed very confident on when I want to shoot it or when I'm going to take it and drive to the rim. Now, obviously, it's not all going to fall on AD. The Lakers as a team collectively want to shoot more threes. Reddick has came out and said that he wants the Lakers to shoot around 43 pointers a game if possible. Now, it didn't quite happen in game 1. They shot about 30, which is lower than their preseason average, which was about 38 threes a game. But if they can get it up to 40, or even 35 or 36, it would be a significant increase from their last year's average, which was around 32 threes a game and was one of the lowest in the NBA as far as team three-pointer attempts, which is not a sign for success in this new NBA where three-pointers are so prevalent and so important for you to win anything. If we just take a look at last year's finals, it featured the Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks, the top two teams in three-point attempts per game in the regular season, and both had top 3 in three-pointers made during the season. In fact, the Boston Celtics made the second most threes by any team in NBA history that season. That electric shooting carried them all the way to the NBA Finals, where they outshot the Dallas Mavericks from 3. In fact, Boston shot, I think it was made 29 threes in game 1, which they blew out the Knicks and set a record. I think they tied the record for most threes in the game. It's clear that that 5-out offense that they're running where everyone can shoot threes is the way you're going to have to play to even compete with them. And obviously, for the point of this video, we're talking, can JJ Reddick make this team a contender? Can he potentially have them win a championship? You have to look at who are the top dogs. So for instance, you have the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics, and if both of them are great three-point shooting teams, well, obviously the Lakers are going to have to increase their three-point shooting. Guys like Dalton Connect can really help this team. We saw a lot of actions in the preseason when that game he got 35 against the Suns, where they run a lot of actions to get him open looks and different flare options for him. But it's going to be, like I said, a team effort between AD and Reeves and D'Lo. These are guys that you need to shoot more threes. If Lakers can even shoot 5 to 6 more threes per game, they will be a lot more dominant. Now, obviously, this is an extremely small sample size. We have, 4 or 5 preseason games and 1 regular season game to go off of versus 2 full seasons of Darvin Ham that we're looking at and comparing, contrasting. And I'll probably have to make another video later to see kind of how they feel. But I will say right now, 1, the players looked more brought in with JJ Reddick, which is huge. That's, if we want to put the parallels back to that chart I was showing you, Steve Kerr is the only guy to really win a championship in his first year. Well, one thing that the Warriors had a problem with was they didn't, Mark Jackson, not all the players are fond of Mark Jackson, if I remember correctly. So you have that. If the players can get bought in, and we've seen that LeBron and AD weren't really happy with Darvin, if they can get bought in, and I think even AD said after game 1 that they felt very prepared for game 1. If that's the case, I think it gives JJ Reddick a good chance. I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen, but I think it gives him a good chance at becoming a head coach that had no prior experience and leading his team to a championship. And the NBA season is very, very long. All this motion offense is great, but how will it look in March and April? But overall, the real question is JJ Reddick the right guy for the Lakers, and can he lead this team to an NBA championship? To be honest, to answer that question, it's a little bit too early, and the numbers are not in his favor. Most first-year head coaches struggle to even improve their team's winning percentage, let alone compete for an NBA championship. So to say that JJ is going to make that much of an impact is a little bit unrealistic, but it's not impossible because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Regardless, I'm looking forward to seeing what can happen with JJ and if the momentum can stay, because after game 1, everything feels great, but you know, it's only one game of the season. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, God bless.